Hello, this is Eric Acosta, spitting hot fire, and welcome to episode 26 of dotEXE, a saving content podcast. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, who boasts the most, saving content's own, Ed Acosta.
Who also spit hot fire.
He spit hot fire.
And Dylan.
Ah, yes. I don't think the younger viewers or listeners have any idea what that joke's all about.
They probably do not.
It is certainly dated.
It is very much dated. For those who don't know, it is a Dave Chappelle skit.
Yes, it is. A lot of Dave Chappelle's stuff from the Chappelle Show was just snippets of funny, right?
Yes.
And I didn't realize just how snippet of funny it was, because it was like that clip show kind of thing where he did a clip or whatever, and then did some little bit of stand up and then a clip. And I had watched an episode a little while ago, and I'm like, oh wow, yeah, it is really like, this is funny. And then I've a 4-minute clip of funny, and then another 3 minutes of him not being funny, really. And then something that's funny.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there's a couple skits here and there and a couple jokes that don't hold up very well. There are some bangers, but there's some that are like, ooh.
Yeah, well, I mean, most of his jokes were racially charged, or in some sense, but that's what made him funny, or made those specific things funny, because it was like towing that line that now is not a line. It's now way past it. When previously it was not. Like the whole thing with what's his name? Wayne Brady. That whole gangster skit with Wayne Brady.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I mean, even back then, I didn't think that one was too funny, but it was neat to see Wayne Brady out of his element.
Right. And that was what it was. It was just that shock factor of Wayne Brady being gangster. And, there was a lot in there to unpack.
Yeah. I mean, still the classics are, the Prince skits and the I'm rich. Blanking on that artist's name.
Rick James.
Yes, Rick James.
I had to see in my mind. I was like, it's this character. Yeah. Yeah. What do the 5 fingers say to the face? Slap. See, that's still funny.
Still good.
Super stupid.
But yeah, the Dylan skit, I think that's the only bit of that skit that I remember being funny, was that he's Dylan. He spit hot fire.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about it. I think from what I remember, the rest of that was kind of, it wasn't bad, I don't believe. It just wasn't really funny.
Yeah, and there's a local taco place here that has funny names for all their hot sauces, and their hottest sauce, which isn't really that hot, but it was tasty. They called it Dylan, and Dylan.
Nice.
And under it captioned, "It spits hot fire." So I'm like, I got you.
I can get with that.
I'm down with the Dylan, and Dylan.
You'll spit hot fire one way or the other.
Oh, yeah.
So, I can't segue from that to games, but Ed, what have you been playing?
So past couple weeks, it's been what? Minecraft, Dinkum, and GTA?
Yeah, basically.
So, there are a few new things this week. So we still doing Minecraft, or at least, we're both kind of adventuring in different new mods in Minecraft.
Yeah.
The one we've been playing a lot is Skybees, or Skybees 2, whatever the
that is correct. Skybees
proper 2. Title is.
Yeah.
And it is very similar to something like a chicken block, or something like the one where you do the cows and everything.
Yeah.
But it's all bees. So you're breeding and collecting bees.
Yep. And in this one, because anybody knows about the Sky stuff, like Skyblock and Sky Factory and stuff like that, this is obviously what's called a void world where there is nothing. You're in an
Yeah.
open in the sky, more or less,
You are
and you
floating in the sky.
yep, you start with like a little patch of land, and you have to build out from there.
Yeah,
So
it's like
there's
one tree
yep,
and a thing of like not what, 6 by 6 dirt or something
something
like
like
that.
that, yeah. Um, and it's yeah, you have to build everything. Um, instead of mining everything, you basically build everything, which me and Des liked. We liked the Sky Factories when we first saw it, and that's what really got her into playing Minecraft in general.
Mhm.
Because it's gave a lot of goals, and that's another thing that Des really likes about this one. It's just a crap ton of goals.
And that's for me as well. It's like when I see the little thing in the top right corner saying you've unlocked this goal or whatnot, that's a motivator.
Yeah,
It's like, okay, I've checked off the list and I'm good. It's odd that the ones that don't have that feel like I haven't accomplished anything.
I was just getting ready to say that actually. It's that like I don't care about trophies and I don't care about achievements, but for some reason in these Minecraft mods, I care a lot about the quests. When I don't
Yeah,
have them, I feel like I've wasted the 3 hours playing doing nothing. Like I
yeah.
didn't progress anything.
It's like I could just be playing vanilla
Yeah, yeah,
Minecraft.
exactly. It's a weird feeling. I would say it's a like adrenaline feeling, or that adrenaline like hook of like achievements and stuff. But I don't have that, so I don't know what it is about this that makes it different. Aside from maybe because it is actually progressing the story or not story progressing the game
Mhm.
because you're not just like a lot of trophies and achievements. They're like that like you know kill 400 people or like in like Uncharted it was like kill 3 people, one with a grenade, one with a gun, and one with explosion at the same time, or something like that. There's just like little things that people did on their own that they've now made like a trophy or an achievement.
Right.
Whereas the Minecraft quests on some of these mods actually are like, okay, make this because you need this to make this, and then to make this, you need what you just made to make this other thing, and then it's a spider web branching thing. So I think it feels more progressive, like more of a progression than it actually is, I guess.
Sure. No,
Um,
I could see that.
so yeah.
Well, so also been playing GTA Online, but this time, other than the PC, we hopped back on the PS5.
We did.
Uh, got up with one of our friends who only has the game on PS5, so we played on there, and the experience is just as nice. Not having to deal with uh random people,
Yep.
just go in a private lobby and just do our work, and it was a lot of fun.
It really is, and that's that like I found myself um wanting to pick up a game to play. It was GTA, either PS5 or PC, was now in that rotation of I could play that.
Yeah.
Like
Oh
when
yeah.
previously it was someone else like Taylor or Sarah or Logan wants to play it. So I was like, okay, I'll pick it up because I'm playing with friends now. But I would never play it by myself. I would rarely ever play it by myself.
Right. And in like the console version, like totally off limits unless you're playing with somebody,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
because it's just unplayable. Because there's no way to get yourself out of a lobby. Unlike on the PC, you could do the task manager trick,
Yeah.
but on
Well,
console you can't.
you could. You had to go to the back of your console and disconnect your network for your network cable for about 8 seconds, and then
Yeah,
plug
but
it in, and it's a whole thing,
it's a whole thing, versus just doing it on the keyboard.
right?
So
Or
it's
you
like,
could go to your router and change your oh shoot, what is it called again? MT something, which would make your latency low or latency high or whatever. But just enough so that you're still getting the full signal, but you look like to the server that you don't have a good connection. Yeah,
yeah, I
but
mean
that changes
these
everything.
are these are options, but they're not viable options
No,
because
no, no.
it requires more work than most people are
More work than it
comfortable
should
doing.
be
Yeah.
is the thing.
So now that you can get in a private lobby and do everything that you need to,
Oh, it's so much
it
better.
made it so much nicer. And playing on the PS5, I think I almost prefer playing on the PS5 mainly because it runs smoother than my PC does.
Yeah, see, I don't
Uh,
see a difference. Well, I don't see a difference between my PC and the PS5, but I can say that I do like the PS5 better because I like the controller better.
I don't mind. I think I prefer the Xbox controller over the PS5
Mhm.
controller, but they're both really close. But I
Right.
will say games that do support the adaptive triggers are really really nice
I
and
love it.
almost leads me to think, I think I prefer the PS5 controller. But it depends on the game when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Whereas the Xbox controller is pretty sturdy regardless.
It's a good well, that's
uh
it. The Xbox controller is a good workhorse controller, right?
yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
you pick it up and you can just about play any game with it realistically. And it makes sense. The PS5 controller I like because, like you said, the haptic triggers. But it definitely is one of those. One, the developer has to make it make sense,
Yep.
so it's not just like pushing on your fingers for no reason or in weird ways. And two, not every game needs it. You know,
No.
like racing games, I think need it. That is like what it is for, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. Games that require throttle
Right.
or something that has triggers kind of need it. Um I will say though I do prefer the joystick layout on a 360 Xbox One, Xbox Series X, whatever you want to call this controller,
Yeah.
to the joystick layout on a PlayStation. If you're, I'm sure you're familiar, but it's off center on the Xbox and it's all below on the PlayStation.
Yeah. Yeah. And see, I'm the opposite. I actually dislike the Xbox One because I get a cramp in my left thumb, because I'm adjusting my my hand up to get
Hmm.
everything to use the joystick up there. So when I'm playing the PS5, it's rested better. But then again, that's because I typically play. I have always typically played my games on the PlayStation, so I'm used to used to that controller. And I think
Right.
most of yours, I mean, you've had both like I have, but you typically play most of your games on the Xbox.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, Xbox and PC have been my go-tos for
Yeah,
a long while now. Like the PS3, the DualShock 3 I'm not a big fan of. Um
yeah.
it just took the aging, DualShock design and
Slap something on it.
yeah, just added wireless, but
Yeah,
it's not a comfortable controller to hold. The DualShock 4 definitely was an improvement, and then the DualSense is an improvement over that.
yeah,
But I think I have more comfort holding the Xbox controller versus even the DualSense.
yeah. I can see it. Like I say, I think most of that boils down to just what we've played the majority of stuff on. Because like I think my last Xbox console was the 360. Yeah, it was the 360. Was the last one I purchased. I didn't get the what was after 360? The one
Xbox One.
It was a one, and then the Series X. That's what it was, right?
Yep, the series.
Yeah. So it's just what I'm used to, and I have small like digits, so my
Mhm.
fingers don't extend far when I'm holding it. So having the two joysticks close to the bottom helps me.
So, yeah, just, a little bit of a tangent there, but GTA Online still great to go back to now that it's private. um, we did end up playing something new, and that was PlateUp.
Yes.
I don't remember where you end up seeing it, but I remember seeing it for sale on GOG, or I'm sorry, Green Man Gaming, and I forget what brought it up, but I'm like, oh yeah, if, if you're interested, it's over here on sale.
Yeah, so I actually found it on Steam because I was looking at my games and I'm like, what do I want to play? And I'm going through them going, yeah, I really don't feel like playing that. I don't really feel like playing that. And I'm like, what's on Steam? What do we got on Steam? So then I ended up looking at it. I think I found it as like on a sale or something, or
Okay.
I don't know what I really don't remember what drew me to it. Um oh no, I remember. Um it was Nextlander.
Did they do?
They were talking about it. I think they had like uh they had something about it. Um and then I was like, "Oh, let me look at it. It sounds kind of like what I'm looking for." That's where I got it. I believe I got it from. But
Huh.
yeah, I ended up finding it on Steam. I don't remember how much it was. I think it was like doo doo doo. Okay, yeah, it was like it's $18 right now. So and what I did was I played the demo and I'm like, "Huh, okay, I think I might be able to get behind this." And then showed it to you, and that's when we just went went and got it. Um,
Well, yeah, because it was $10.
yeah, it was on good old GOG, right?
I think it was Green Man
Oh, Green
Gaming,
Man
but
Gaming, that's what it's from. Sorry, yeah, you're right. It was Green Man Gaming. But yeah,
but yeah,
that game was fun.
it is. It is very much like a combination of Diner Dash and Overcooked.
Yep, with kind of the artistic styling of Fall Flat or
A little bit.
Gang
I mean,
Beasts, like
they're
not exactly that blobby kind of character.
right, but it doesn't control like that. It
No, yeah,
controls more along the lines of like an Overcooked.
right, right. Aesthetically, it's that kind of it's the character models of that kind of feel. But what the overall like world reminded me of is the kit what was it, Kitchen Disaster? No, the one we did a
Rest
Recipe for
recipe for
Disaster.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what that world look kind of reminds me of.
Sure. Yeah, so
Mhm,
the way this game is played, you've got 4 people that you can do max, and it's very much in the style of the Overcooked in that regard. Uh, you'll you go through, you prepare your dishes, and you serve them. So everybody can do anything, and so it's up to you to decide if you want to divvy out tasks or if you just kind of want everybody to do what they need to. But somebody needs to go take the order, someone needs to go make the order, and someone needs to deliver said order to the table.
right.
So not only are you worried about getting the order correct, but you got to get it out in time so that you don't have a line of people waiting to get into your restaurant and sit down. And then you've got to make sure that you're you're doing the proper order, or otherwise you got to go throw something away and then uh, make it again.
Right.
So
It's
the way
very much like um Overcooked in that regard.
Yeah. So the way we were working it out was I was in the kitchen making the food. You were out there on the floor doing the serving. And then Keegan joined in
Mhm.
and he helped you out on the floor as well.
Right. And like what makes it played up different than some of the other games like Diner Dash and Overcooked is that it is a roguelite. I believe it's yeah,
Yes.
roguelite. So you have you can get up to 15 days in one restaurant, right?
All right.
And each day is like, like a level in like Overcooked. You go however many hours, quote unquote, in game, and then you
Hmm.
close your restaurant, open and close, and then you're done for the day. That's level one. As you progress, you get to choose bonuses inside of that realm of like make more people come in, add in coffee or that kind of thing.
Right. And they're at random.
And yeah, they're at random. Oh, I level wise, like when it happens, it's not random, but yeah, the item, the two choices that you get is random. Uh, and then every time you lose, so if like a customer gets upset because you waited too long to seat them, or they waited too long to give them food, or whatever, when one customer is upset, the
Yeah,
day is over.
when you fail your day,
Yeah,
that's it. Your run stops. You start back at the beginning. But granted, you could end up having some bonus unlocks that you can take with you into the next set of days,
right,
or you have more options to choose from, whether it's like different layouts for the kitchen or different recipes you can do. Uh, that's where the rogue element comes in that it basically wipes your slate clean and you got to start over. The goal, is to make it through the whole 15 days.
right. And then uh, when you do that, I mean, it's still not over because you play it back again, and you can get like you get bigger restaurants, which we didn't end up getting because we didn't get you know too terribly far, but you do get bigger. You can get bigger restaurants that can seat like a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Uh, you can get different uh, layouts. The one thing I've really liked about this is all of your stuff is movable.
Yeah, so you can just move it around willy nilly during the moving
Doing
phase.
the
You
move
can't
right,
do it while the
right,
can't do it while the restaurant is open.
right.
But yeah, there's no penalty to move anything. You just move it to where you feel it's going to work best for you.
Right. So that includes like counters, tables. You can turn off the number of chairs. Most tables are what's called a four top or
Hmm.
four chairs. You can say, nope, I just want to have two chairs here on this table. I mean, you can move the fridge. You can move like where the fruits and vegetables and meat and stuff like that are, all to your liking. One thing I thought was really cool that we found out by accident was if you put a cabinet or not a cabinet, a counter in front of a door, it makes it a serving window. So you can like
Yeah,
you remove the door, but you can still use that to the person in the kitchen put the plate on the counter, and that person can pick up that on the other side can pick up that plate or whatever.
right. It essentially becomes a second spot that you can serve from.
Right.
So that, like in our situation, I was doing the cooking and there's two servers. So I could be stuffing plates on one side and the other side, trying to maximize our efficiency.
Right. And I thought it was pretty cool a game. I'm not a fan of roguelites, and I think you're very similar to that too. You're not a big
Yeah,
fan of roguelites. But this is
I can
one that I
deal.
can okay, you can kind of yeah, I don't typically play them, but this is one I can get behind,
Yeah.
because it is light in the fact of how, the replayability or the replaying necessity of a rogue.
Yeah, there's no real big penalty here. It is, you're going for a day's run essentially.
Yeah,
And uh if there's an unlock that happens along the way that you keep, then great. If not, then it's nothing that's going to bum you because you already have the expectation that your restaurant has closed. So you're starting up a new restaurant.
right. And the biggest thing that I dislike about a lot of rogue games, roguelites and roguelikes are the fact that it always ends up being okay, your first 10 to 50 playthroughs are going to be crap because you don't have anything. So you just got to slog through it until you get
Hmm.
enough of these built up weaponries or get a good like a god roll, and you can just, breeze through it or whatever. Those are the kind of things that I'm like I don't want to I don't want to have to like play through many hours of the game to get to what the game is supposed to be.
Right. Yeah. So there are a few that I don't mind. Something like a Rogue Legacy is, fine because even though you lose what you've gathered in the castle during that run, you keep your money, which is what you use to upgrade your character.
Right.
So that's the good part. You don't feel like you're starting from square one. And it's kind of the same with PlateUp because regardless of what you do, there's nothing there hindering your ability. It's only benefiting you. So like you always start with the necessary equipment that you need.
Right.
If that makes it a stove that goes slightly faster, great. If not, it's still a workable stove. You can still serve everything you need to using that equipment. You could finish the game with that equipment as
Right.
long as you were fast enough.
Right. nothing really felt at the point we were playing it. Nothing really felt like, okay, I there's no way for me to do this because I don't have the upgrade. Like I never
Yeah,
felt like I was being blocked to do something because I didn't have a fast enough stove or I didn't have a sink that could clean fast enough or something.
right. It's one of the many issues I do have with like the rogue type games that it's where you don't feel like you're strong enough. You have to die to get stronger.
Right.
Whereas in here, you you don't have to. Like it's a bonus if you do, you get something that makes it better, but you could just work harder
Mhm.
and you'll get it.
And another thing I really liked about this one is it gives you it feels like it's a real good like multiplayer aspect of like drop in, drop out, not
Oh yeah.
during gameplay. Um like as in during like the day, but I believe you can drop in before you start the day. And obviously there's like a lobby part,
Yeah.
which that is great because it gives you a like a little test kitchen that you can play around in. So you can kind of learn, new people can kind of learn the controls and how things work and what to do before
Yeah,
they get.
new recipes and everything.
Yeah.
So like I think I think the co-op really helps the game. And
Yeah.
obviously it's designed with co-op in mind, but with the style of game it is, the roguelite, I think more roguelites would be more fun with co-op.
Yeah. That I yeah. I fully agree with that. That's sentiment.
So going from plating up, how about putting down some rails?
Yeah, there's a segue.
We also played the Epic game that was free the other week, Unrailed, where it's basically creating a railroad track for a train to go, but the train is constantly moving. So you've got to go and collect all the resources needed to put down train tracks before the train gets to the end.
Yes. Yes. It is it is a frantic game similar to Overcooked. I think it ends up being a little more frantic than Overcooked.
Hmm.
Um
Probably.
because you've got a built-in timer of the train. So the train's constantly moving. You're putting the rails down like you said, but you don't just have the rails. You have to someone's got to be mining wood and someone's got to be mining
The
the
rock and
rocks. And then
isn't
that
there an act isn't there an actual timer in there too? Like, doesn't the train have to get to its location by a certain time? Because you can, you know, decide where the train is going. You could do a bunch of zigzags if you wanted to, but it slows the train down.
I
Like,
don't
am I
think
remembering that wrong?
I don't think there is an actual timer because I think the
Like,
only timer is the train.
I have this feeling like there's a timer up in the top right corner or something that the train has to get there by. But I I wasn't paying attention to that. I was mining wood and mining rock and setting them in pallets so that you guys could make train tracks.
Well, and that's the thing is like, you don't just mine them. You got to take the wood in the stacks, put them on the train for the train's back carts to make the rail. So you need both wood and I guess it'd be iron technically, but stone
Yeah.
uh to make the train track. And then you got to take the train tracks from the train and put them in front of the train. And then you have to take wood to build bridges and then put the train tracks on top of the
On
bridge.
top of that.
But you also have to get water to cool the train.
Yeah. And and to top it all off, to make it even harder, they include some NPCs that walk around and they will steal your wood or steel pallets and
Hmm.
toss them off the edge of the world.
And that's just the first. I mean, we played what, maybe an hour of it, um, maybe a little more. It was me, Ed, Genevieve, and Keegan. So
Yeah.
we didn't get terribly far. Uh, I
But
mean,
it was far enough to be excited and have fun with it.
yeah, oh yeah. Um, but yeah, as you get farther in the game, you can unlock more types of trains, more types of train cars, faster trains, slower trains. You can add more of the carts so they can build more rails at a time. But you also have like enemies that will, like you said, pick stuff up and throw it off the edge or attack you
Right.
specifically. So it does get harder as it goes on. I th- the thing is, what's funny about it is that I remember watching uh, Achievement Hunter. If anybody knows what Achievement Hunter is, but I remember watching some YouTube company play these guys play it a while ago, and I thought that was pretty nifty. But
Hmm.
I didn't really have people to play it with that had it, so I didn't invest in it because I think oh yeah, it says it came out in September of 2019. So it's been out for a while. It's just it's made a resurgence, I think, because its official release was the 2020. I don't know what was the official release, but it became a free game. So I think that's helped boost some of
Yes.
those. Yeah, it's a fun game. It really is.
Yeah, so that's one to that and played up. We'll have to come back to play some more because they're just they're both fun games that you can just sit and let's say play for an hour and then you're good for a while. Come back
Yep.
to it later.
Yep.
uh, I do want to mention real quick that I have a game that I cannot talk about except say that I am playing. uh, I have a review copy of Saints Row, the new Saints Row releasing next week, I believe is the release date, the 23rd. So
That's
I've got I got the review. I'm working on it. Can't say any thoughts about it, but I can say that the review is probably going to be up on the 22nd or 23rd. I don't know specifically which day it'll be ready for, but it'll be ready for you guys to read and you'll have my thoughts. And then we'll obviously talk about it on the next podcast as well.
yes. Yes, yes, yes. It's the 23rd of August, it says the release.
Okay, so that's Tuesday.
Yep.
Yeah, so be on the lookout for that on the site and keep your ears open for the next podcast.
Cool, cool. So we've kind of we've talked about what we've been playing. It's kind of the same. What you've been playing is similar to what I've been playing because we've been playing the games together.
Yeah, because, we can.
Right. Uh, I mean, I did some more Minecraft. Different ones I played is oh we also played that we didn't talk about Sky Fabrication, which is the difference is that instead of using Forge as the mod program, it uses Fabric, which is it's a lighter program, and it's the same thing. It's just this one is a little different because the Fabric mod program actually has you can pick your class, kind of like D&D. You pick like your race and your class. So like you can have there's one that Ed was reading, I think was like a bird or something, and you can if you're the avian or whatever it is, you have feather falling, so you don't really fall like you don't hurt yourself from high heights. Um, and you wake up every morning with an egg, but you also can't eat meat. I think is what it was, or something like that.
Sure.
Um, so like they all have like positives and negatives, and then you can also pick like I said your class, which is what I picked. I picked miner, right? Where I didn't lose hunger when mining or something like that.
Okay.
I just don't remember off the top of my head. It's nifty. It's I don't know. I'll probably go back to it, or we might go back to it, but it's not definitely not on like the top of things that we do in Minecraft.
Right. I mean,
uh,
it's fine.
exactly, it's fine. And it's suitable and it works. It may be something I might do by myself more if I don't have something else to play. But the one that I've played that you haven't played is actually Model Builder
Yes.
on Steam. Well, I say you haven't played. I don't know if you haven't played. I just know I have.
No, I have yet to play it. Uh, I got this the same time I got the PlateUp because I went to go buy PlateUp and there was a coupon to get half off of Model Builder. So I'm like, let me go take a look at this. 50% off is nothing to joke, sneeze at. And it was like $10. So 50% off of that is five. Hey, that sounds like a deal.
Right?
So
That's less than than a meal at McDonald's now.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, okay, Big Mac or a game? Let's go with the game. I can do without the Big Mac. And yeah, so like it looked really neat. So I bought it. It's on my library. We do the library thing where you can play some of the games that I have and everything as
Yeah.
long as the game allows it. And why don't you tell everybody about it? Because I have yet to hop into it.
So I I I I enjoy it. I'm gonna say it out of the gate. I enjoy it. Um, Mainly because I like simulator games in general, but I also really love building models.
Uh
And
huh.
the reason I really like it is because I don't it's allows me to build models to get um that sense of like, detail and completion, but not have to have space on a shelf for the end
Right.
product and not have to buy paint and thinner and brushes and the airbrush and all this stuff that can get expensive with model building. Uh,
Very.
yeah, because the way that the game works is it does have a career mode, and that's what I started out that I did. And they basically it's very loosely justifying why you need to be building this model. People will email you and ask you, "Hey, I need you to build a model for my so and so's like birthday or whatever," and I can't do it. And it's like, okay, well, sure. Uh, but once you get into like building the model, you click on it to open the box. It opens the box. It pulls out the pieces, and you pull out the I forget what they called it. I didn't know this was a real term, but that whole sheet that has the plastic pieces on it actually has a
Uh huh.
name. I can't remember what the name
Oh,
is. Um,
shoot. Yeah, I used to know this.
yeah, I for the life of me I can't remember it. I read it I don't know how many times when they were talking about it. But you pull out that whole sheet and you open up the instructions and it tells you, you know, this piece goes with this piece. So you can click on the instructions to pull out in your upper menu that piece, to highlight that piece, and then you could pull it, and then you have to actually use the X-Acto knife to cut the little sections off to pull the piece off of the packaging thing that it comes in, and then you've got to cut the other piece out, put that in uh, on your table to put them together. So there's that model building part, right? That you're putting it together. You don't have to like lay the glue or anything. You just tell click and click. Because I think that would probably be a little too much. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, you put it together and then you can paint it. And that's where I think is this game really kind of, in my opinion, shines because you can do like full paint, right? And just do like a bucket paint, kind of like in Paint Shop Pro or Windows photo editor
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Like a paint program you can.
Yeah, it's just like a bucket and go boop. Okay, the whole thing is gray. Then you can go in. Okay, well, I want to do like a dry brush and where it paints just like the raised parts, or a wet brush will paint just the crevice parts, and then you can change your size of how big that radial is. You can change the colors, you can change the opacity, like when you're how you're painting it on this. So once, just like in real life, once you made the stroke, you can't undo it, right? You'd have to paint over it to do it again.
Right.
Um, but then you can also do airbrushing, where you can get more, detailed points and like make a fire or a flame look like a flame because it's faded in, faded out, or whatever, and you can layer
Mhm.
these paints up. So someone more artistic than I would probably do a lot better. But it still gets that fine detail. So like I did one of them which was a car, and you could get in and like paint the tires all black, but then, like, if they had the raised lettering, you could paint the lettering, or, you can go in and paint just, like, the side blinkers or whatever, so it does have that granularity of it going in to a smaller sense, so you can zoom in and zoom out and move the whole model around, and you also have stickers, you can put stickers on it.
Which, you know, really cool.
Yeah. So, I played, like I said, I played 2 days of that. Like if in 2 days I played it, and I played for a good 4 or 5 hours each day.
Does
Uh,
it have workshop support or anything?
I didn't see it. Now that doesn't necessarily mean it doesn't, because I wasn't really looking for that. But actually, after I finished, I haven't picked it up since I last played it a few days ago. But was talking to Keegan about it. And I'm like, oh wow, I wonder if they have workshop support because that'd be really cool. Because there is a sandbox mode where you can just build a model. So like
Right.
having a workshop to that would be amazing to be able to just say, okay, I want to build that model. you know?
Well, that and having the ability to build like real world cars or ships or planes or whatnot.
Oh, I would love to see a workshop to that for like Tamaya or Tamaya, however people say it, models or AMC models or not AMC, AMT models, like actual model
Right.
company models. That would be so cool.
Amp Turtle.
Erdl. I don't even think Erdl's a company is anymore, is it?
Amp Turtle. AMT and Ertl.
Yeah.
It's one company.
Oh, they okay. So, but they still use Erdl. I thought they just went to AMT.
No, it's if you look at the logo, it's AMT on the top, it says Ertl on the bottom.
Gotcha. But yeah, I mean that would be super cool. Um, I don't know. I hope in later iterations, they'll do it. Or I'm actually trying to stall for time because I'm trying to find the game and find its model,
It's model?
its workshop. I mean, but I can't get
Oh,
into the store page. There we go. It finally went to the store page. I was trying to find model builder and see if they had a workshop on it, and doesn't look like it does.
at
No,
least not
no,
yet, I
not
assume.
yet. Yeah. Um, but hey, it's time.
Yeah.
So other than that, that's the only different stuff I've been playing. Uh, that's actually the last. That's of the different stuff I've been playing. This has been the what is it? The year of um, picking up your old games or games you wanted to try out.
Well, yeah, because there's just big releases are far and few between. I
Right.
think the the big one coming out now obviously is Madden, and I think God of War is a little later, but they got the yearly Madden coming out, so it's always
Yeah.
been like the start of the new video game season unofficially.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm kind of at the point of like, I kind of like this like non-annual thing, right?
Yeah, just you know every biannual every 3 year maybe. Just having that break in between big releases like that has been nice to really catch up on games and to really catch up on some backlog, bigger titles I haven't got to play yet.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, that kind of leads us right into our show topic. But yeah, annual game releases. I mean, obviously, we kind of let in with what we think about it, but yay or nay, right? I mean, I'm all about nay. I don't need an annual release.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been in that same regard. It's like I don't even when I had the time, I it's just too much. Like the sports franchises, even that's too much. But yet, they have to do it every year for contractual reasons.
Right.
But I know most people would be okay with the actual base game not getting a new version for like maybe 2 3 years, but throw in like a roster update so that
Exactly.
it changes players and teams and graphics around, and then maybe throw in a few new features or tighten up some stuff to make the game run a little nicer.
Yep.
That's all people really need, and you could sell that at a discounted rate. But that's the problem: discounted rate.
Discount rate. It's not a full title.
Right, and they, according to most contractual stuff that you hear about, it needs to be a 60 product or full priced product.
Right.
So I mean that's the thing with like your sports releases. But then you've got your yearly installments like Call of Duty, and I've never been big on Call of Duty to begin with, but even if it were something like Halo every year, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
One, it's not going to be that much different. And with Call of Duty, you get the three different development teams that work on it, so they've got the time. But there's just so much burnout
There is
when it comes
well,
to that.
yeah, there's so much burnout for the game itself, and like you put it earlier, the majority of these annual games can be done with roster updates,
Yeah,
right? And that even includes like Call of Duty and things like that, roster update or not necessarily roster update, but like, item updates. So like, new guns and packages and skins and that kind of stuff. You don't need to have a full game out to bring those to the masses, right? You don't need another installment of Battlefield or Call of Duty to get these 30 weapons into people's hands. Digital weapons into people's hands. Like
yeah.
it's an update. It's a roster update.
So a lot of that stuff has fallen to your live service games now,
Right.
where it is basically that model, except for some of them you have to pay a subscription fee too.
Well, that
Uh,
one's I'm not a fan of that.
but then there's the ones where it's like the season pass model, and they consider their seasons like every 4 months or 6 months or something like that. Then you got to buy another $20 thing, and then you got to buy another $20 thing.
You see, I'm not a
Uh,
fan of that either. I would not mind doing $10 to $20 a year in that model if you're giving me a year's worth of content, but like 4 to 6 months at $20 is ridiculous to me. It's too
well,
much.
yeah, and I know it's pie in the sky to want something like that, but it's never going to favor
Oh
the
no, yeah.
consumer. It's always going to favor the publisher.
Oh yeah. Well, it's money.
So yeah, so it's like, okay, well, yeah, we'll do a $10 thing each year, but you get like 5 skins a year.
Right.
Well, that's not what I mean. I mean, give me everything that you would have done for $10. I'll pay that. No, no, that's more like $10 per update.
Right. Looking at you, Destiny.
Yeah. I mean, that's more like $40,
Or it's
$50,
yeah. I mean,
$60.
but trying to sit here and think, but I don't think there is a single game out there or type of game out there that would benefit from having an annual release.
No, no, I can't think of one either. Like everything kind of needs some breathing room.
Right. I mean,
Like the developers need the breathing room
mhm.
and your product needs the breathing room.
Well, and previously, like currently, the way that games are made, there is not a single type of game that needs an annual release. Previously, before there was like a full digital world of like digital transactions, I understood more or less yearly or annual like releases or close to annual releases because it was the only real way to get that product out there.
Uh-huh.
That was you know, the serving tray. The game was a serving tray to get that content out there. But at this point now, everything is piecemealed. You get a game day one is there's a patch always s- that makes the game run better. So everything is piecemealed. That you get the base content, make that working good, and then update it for the next 2 maybe 3 years. By that time, the consumer more or less should be ready for a new version of it, and it would make
Yeah,
sense.
right. Because you got to give it some time to, one, to just kind of be out there and let people enjoy it.
Right.
But two, there's got to be some time in between for techniques and technology to kind of, uh, enhance a little bit so that when you do come with your next iteration, there's some actual change
Yeah,
and
there's
not just
something
like
new
a
to it.
small, you know, a small update.
Yeah,
There's
like
something
a truck
of
stick
meat to it. Yeah, truck stick.
or better defense.
Right. It's like, come on.
I mean, I'm a
You,
Madden guy. I love Madden. I do. I like playing Madden. I like playing sports
well,
games. But you know, it,
Madden's also in this weird spot where it's the only game in town.
yeah,
It doesn't have the competition to be able to bounce off of.
doesn't need to innovate.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the same thing with 2K, NBA 2K, whatever it is.
Oh yeah, ditto. Same thing. Any of those sports franchises, because they end up signing these these
Exclusive
deals where
deals. Yep.
they're exclusive. But that's also on the sports
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's not
shoulders too.
yeah, we can't sit there and be like, "Well, it's all EA's fault." It's not. It's not all, was it Take-Two that
Yeah, it's
does
not Take Two's
yeah.
fault.
Oh,
It's
fully. It is partially their fault. They're in the agreement, but it's not fully their fault. The NBA is also at fault. The NHL is also at fault. The One of the NHL actually has exclusivity rights.
they do.
They
It's
do? Okay.
EA.
Is it EA? Okay.
Yeah.
It's not the NFL, it's not just EA, it's also the NFL's at fault. So like, I say at fault like they care.
Right.
These big corporations like, I don't give a crap. And we've made this deal. And this is what the deal is going to be.
Right. You
Uh,
go buy our game because this is the game we support.
right. You either buy it or you don't, is what they
Yeah.
say.
But at the same time, as bad as those deals can be, where there's less competition, they can also benefit in the case of MLB The Show.
Hmm. Yeah.
MLB, that's the one game that they focus on. They do have their license on like their official, like RBI baseball is made by the MLB, or like their whatever
Their
studio that
division. Yeah.
yeah. But MLB The Show is their console game, their big budget game. So obviously that's a Sony studio who makes that game. But the MLB pushed their weight around, basically saying, look, we want it on other consoles.
Right.
We want to make more money. Either do this or we're taking our license elsewhere. So they did it.
Yep. And Sony's big, Microsoft's big, they're not MLB big.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Sony has a gut, Microsoft has a gut, MLB has like three more of their guts.
Yeah.
They're
Eh, yeah, I guess you could think of it. MLB has old money.
oh, do they
Like
have?
there are many, many teams and organizations in there who, they've got money, and then there's people who back them who have money, and yeah, yeah,
They can
a
push.
Sony's, like, if anything, Microsoft would probably have the most leeway
Oh
out of the
yeah,
two, just because they also have their software division.
right. Because it's not Xbox. Like they can go outside of Xbox and say, well, we are Microsoft,
Right.
and that is a bigger statement than them saying than Sony being like, well, we are Sony. I mean, Sony's a
Yeah.
big company, but they are very limited in scope,
Right.
relatively so to these other ones. But the MLB also goes, yeah, well, you're not us.
Yeah.
You don't make what we make.
Right.
So yeah, they had that jargon to throw around.
Right. I mean, and again, the downside there is that it's exclusive. So then
Hmm.
you only get, that one option. And when it becomes a yearly release, there's no reason to innovate, because where else are you going to go?
Right. If they want it, they got to come here.
Right.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it ends up being made just for a paycheck.
Yeah. It becomes copy paste, and then it becomes a student's work, right? Copy paste from the internet, and then add in your own words is what it
Yeah.
becomes.
You just need to do enough to, have the back of the box quotes and everything of like new feature.
Right.
But that's it. Everything else can work the exact same it has always been.
Yeah. And so that's that, like, pie in the sky, like really wish, developers would get into it of like, just put roster updates, make a core game that'll last 3 to 4 years, maybe 5 years, basically half the lifetime of a console, right?
Hmm.
So that way you'd only have two essential full releases per console, but you've got roster updates or pack updates. So like making a roster update free would make sense, but then to be like, okay, well here's some, new functions or some, added abilities or added scenarios or stuff like that in a pack that you can sell. I can get behind. Um as updates, or DLCs. I'm sorry, not updates. But you'd only have like 2 core games released on a console.
Mhm.
That makes sense to me, but I'm a
Yeah.
consumer.
Right.
So what little say that is, um, yeah, I can say that I love Madden, but I have not purchased a Madden game since,
It's been a
oh,
while.
it's been,
It's
um,
man.
1 year since I bought.
But yeah, no, it's
It's
been a
been a
while,
while. It's actually
especially
been
with
like 3
Madden
years for
because
me.
it's always been the same. And well, one, they for me, they got rid of the feature where you can like let me clarify. They've gotten rid of how robust the feature was for like the owner mode. Because that's what
Yes.
I liked playing. I like taking over control of the team, moving them somewhere, choosing my logo, choosing the name, choosing the city it's going to, choosing my players, and then, basically simulating the season and putting my decisions out there to be like, okay, I hired these guys and they're taking me to the Super Bowl. No, I did bad. Okay, well, let's try again next year.
Right.
Uh, I don't really want to play the game. I want to play the management side.
Well, and they rolled all of that in. So there's that like fickle time of like, they had owner mode and then have franchise mode or something like that. And then
Yep.
people really they noticed a lot of people liked owner mode. So then they had, was it 2015 where they had manager, NFL manager simulator or something like that? Or um,
Yeah, it was head coach,
head
NFL
coach.
head coach.
That's what it was, NFL head coach, where that was the intent. But when you got into the game, it really wasn't the same thing
No.
as owner mode. You were just the head coach. And then they took that and then they lumped that into the game and then removed owner mode and then made, instead of head coach, they just lumped that into franchise mode, but it still didn't, they took away some of the aspects that you could do in owner mode. So now you're like franchise mode, you could play as the player or you can simulate the games and do some of the other stuff,
Uh huh.
like, pull the team out and relocate them and do basic um logo making. Like, I mean, basic logo making. Um, which that to me confounds me to this day of like, it's not hard to make like a fully customizable logo system. I mean,
No.
you can do it in, you can do something similar to that in, with stickers or layers in Forza and GT and all other wrestling and, any game that you make a character. Like, this is the doesn't even have to be like on a moving object aside from like the helmet. So
Hmm.
like it can, and that doesn't like shift, you know? So it's not like it's hard to do. I say that relatively. Obviously, it's programming and stuff, but it is no. It's not like there's no precedent elsewhere in video games for that
No,
kind of thing.
I think part of that is probably has to do with them
Licensing,
getting in trouble with like, the NFL or something.
right? Someone making like an old NFL logo, uh, or something like that. That, they're not supposed to, or
Right.
whatever. But it still baffles me. It's like it's not the. There's no. It's not like there's no precedent. It's not like it's new. It should be in there. But yeah, and like I remember in some of the older Madden games, you could set like the prices for food and what you sell at your stadiums. Granted, then it was very rudimentary, so you only had like what 5 or 6 different items you could sell depending on where you move your team, and you could only raise or lower the prices by so much.
Hmm.
But there was still that economy that was in there that was kind of nifty to play around with. That they, I'm pretty sure, got rid of. I haven't played Madden in a few years, but I haven't seen anything about that being back or being a thing.
Yeah, I can't say if that is a thing or not.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about getting the new Madden mainly because Madden passed away, and he was a big, the game and him himself was actually a big part of my childhood because,
Well,
you know,
yeah.
you knew all about who John Madden was or heard about who John Madden was. He was in one of my favorite movies, Little Giants. So like, you know, he was kind of a big deal in my opinion for me. Also, I was a big football or sports fan and I love football and I played a lot of the games. So I never used his other product, the what, Tough Actin' Tenactin?
Yeah, boom, tough acting
Boom!
to acting.
But yeah, so I was thinking about getting it because of that. And I haven't played it in a while, but we'll have to see. 'Cause if it's also $70, I will probably wait on that.
Yeah, because it's going to be cheap in a couple months.
Right. Or I'll just get it from GameFly, rent it, and then purchase it if I like it.
Yeah.
But that's how I'll be getting most of my new games. It's renting it from GameFly, and then if I like it enough, I'll just buy it used. Which, yay, GameFly.
Hooray.
Not sponsored, but love to be.
But, that's just one example of, how a yearly release can hamper, a game's ability to be good.
Well, and not just be good, but be progressive, well, usefully progressive in a good way. Innovate and make the game better. Because Madden is a good game, but it hasn't gotten any better. It stayed very very basic, and it works as the simulator game that it needs to be, and it represents football very well and all that. But it just hasn't gotten any better because it hasn't had to. Same thing with the NBA games, the 2K games. They haven't
Yeah.
had to get better. They've gotten a little worse because of the throwing in of like what is it called, V Bucks, or I forget what they're called now, but
V-Bucks is Fortnite.
V Bucks is Fortnite. Okay, so there's another term for the NBA one, for the 2K one, and I can't remember what it is, but yeah, you're buying points with real money, digital points with real money to upgrade your crib or buy stat bonus boosts and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And those microtransactions have gotten so much worse.
Yes. Agreed.
So I say annual game releases. There is no need. There is not a single genre of in video gaming that I can think of that needs it. It's a nay for me.
Yeah, it is a nay for me as well. It is not necessary, and I can't think of a game that requires it. It's just to line someone's pockets because they know people will buy it.
Right. So thank you for joining us today. If you don't agree with us, send us an email. Let us know. Hey, you're wrong, guys. No, there's a need. I've got proof right here. Slam it down on the table. The virtual table, that is our email. And what is that email? That would be .exe at savingcontent.com. You can also subscribe to this podcast and leave a comment at Saving Content on Twitter and Facebook, and some of the podcast sites who let you leave comments. Saving Content is also on YouTube. So subscribe for video previews, reviews, trailers, and original content like this podcast. Are you in for more gaming discussions? Well, guess what? There is Saving Content's Quick Save podcast with Evan and Scott. They are funny guys. They are good to listen to.
Two funny guys.
They're funny guys. There's another dated one.
That's wild and crazy, guys.
Yeah.
That's SNL.
That is, yeah. SNL's still on, right?
It is.
I think so. Yeah.
It is.
Wow.
Still a thing.
Still a thing. Also, remember to visit savingcontent.com for the latest news and reviews. Ed, what is on?
We've got quite a bit, actually. A lot has come out since our last episode.
Yes.
So our very own Genevieve has reviewed Strange Horticulture on the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
Go give that a read. It's quite a fun review. Scott did 2 Point Campus, which is a sequel to 2 Point Hospital, the guys who pretty much did like a modern day theme hospital. So this is the same thing, but on a college campus. Scott also reviewed Cult of the Lamb, a game that has been getting a lot of attention here lately. And I have yet to read it, unfortunately, nor have I actually looked much about Cult of the Lamb, but I'm hearing good things, and I might check it out here at some point. Scott did a brief demo video a couple months back, or maybe a month or two back, when the Xbox had their demo showcase of Fashion Police Squad. So he's got that review up. And the newest one for today, actually, is Roller Dome by Scott, which that one is starting to get a lot of buzz here as well. I don't believe we had anything preview wise, and I know we haven't had any new video content per se. So it's just the reviews that we've got this week.
Awesome. Yes. So before we go, we just ask one favor. As always, a 5-star review. I mean, honestly, you can review whatever you want, but 5-star is best. Because it's true. 5-star. 5-star.
5-star.
Yep. Can even be done in the podcast app. Finally, don't forget to tell your friends about us. It'll help us grow, and we really appreciate it here at dotEXE. Thank you for listening, and remember, the most wasted of days is one without laughter. Good night.